the shock initially finding out that I have to use a machine. It wasn't comfortable. I wasn't happy. I had a few moments that I cried about it, but I've come to think that I would rather use the machine to give myself a better chance of not in my sleep, so I don't have to go under surgery possibly, because surgery is not fun and the recovery process is not always the easiest. And hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I realized in my last video I'll put like a screenshot of it somewhere up here for you to see, but I realized in my last video I just basically was showing you guys about my CPAP machine, but there was no really adequate information of the backstory why I'm using the CPAP machine. So today I'll be running through that real quick with you guys. So if this is something you're interested in finding out, then stick around and continue watching the video. So yeah guys, I'm back, and if you see me looking down guys, it's just because I have some stuff down here in my other cell phone, just for me to get straight to the point and not like drag this video out. So basically I have obstructive sleep apnea, which is abbreviation is OSA, and it is one of the most common form of sleep apnea. And what happened is basically when you're sleeping, your throat muscles relaxes too much and it closes off the airway. So for the air to be pushed down in your lungs, for you to breathe properly and clearly throughout the night, that is being obstructed. So that's why they call it obstructed sleep apnea. So using the CPAP machine basically will push air, like force air into your nostrils and force you to breathe whenever the machine indicate that you stop breathing. So yeah, okay, Malia, I'm doing a video, mommy. Why you have an empty water bottle? I'm doing a video, mommy. Can you sit down, my love? So yeah guys, so that's basically what obstructive sleep apnea is. Now there's many causes of obstructive sleep apnea, such as diseases. It can be due to your age. It can also be as a result of excess weight or obesity. But there's different factors that could cause obstructive sleep apnea. Those are just three of the possible causes. Yeah, and also when I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea, the way I found out is I was being prepped for surgery. So you know, whenever you're doing any major surgery, go through a series of tests. They have to check to make sure your heart is good. They have to make sure you have good veins and all of that stuff. So they did all of that process, and I had to see a pulmonary doctor for the first time in my life to make sure that I was well enough to go under anesthesia and I was well enough to do the surgery, because a lot of people have issues with anesthesia. So they had to be thorough in checking out everything to make sure I was good. I had to give plasma for them to check my blood oxygen level, all of that stuff. So upon seeing a referred pulmonary doctor, and I did some tests and stuff, I guess based on my blood oxygen level, they found out that something was going on, and then they sent me to a official pulmonary doctor outside of the hospital, which is the same pulmonary doctor I'm seeing today. And yeah, I did a series of tests, but what I had to do was a sleep study, something that calls a sleep study. You could actually do it in the facility of the doctor's clinic. They have a overnight thing that they monitor you. They hook you up to some machine. I had a smaller machine that was strapped to my chest. I don't know if I have any pictures of it. I'll try to see if I find one. If I do, I'll insert it in the video somewhere. But I had to put it over my chest. There's some tiny little tubes almost like an oxygen tube that goes in your nostril and put it behind your ears, and you have to sleep in it overnight. So I had that, and I didn't do my sleep study in the facility. I got to do it at home, and upon reading my results and whatever was happening, they realized that I have sleep apnea. Now it was based on the test levels, I guess, and the results that they found out it was obstructive sleep apnea. So yeah, so we took it from there, and after that they started giving prescription for sleep apnea machine, which I knew nothing about. That I had to do my own research. I had to constantly ask questions at the doctor office because I never heard about sleep apnea before. I didn't know what it is, so I had to learn. And I couldn't pay out of pocket cash for the machine, so it went through my insurance. Now if you watch previous video, I will try to insert another clip of it, but you will see that I had a white machine which I labeled the older model. I had that one first through the insurance, and they had a recall on it. Now they had a recall on it due to some stuff that was in the media. If anyone knows about it, they could probably pull it up on Google or media articles and stuff like that. But they had a recall on it, and I didn't have another machine, and obviously it's, as I said before, it's very expensive, so I could not afford to buy one cash. So I had to work with the machine until I could come up with something to figure out to get a new one. Now upon putting in my old machine code and doing a whole bunch of stuff recommended by my pulmonary doctor, I finally got my up-to-date one, as you see in my previous video also, which is a smaller black one. Yeah, so that's basically the story behind it. So I have this one now, but because the reason why my doctor was upset with me is whenever you go there and you do, I have to do a breathing test and all of that, and based on my results, they could tell that I wasn't using the machine, and that would be absolutely correct, because in the last few months of my pregnancy, it was very difficult. I was barely sleeping. I was sitting in the couch or reclining in the couch or sometime in a chair. I wasn't really sleeping throughout the night, and using the machine requires you to sleep, because that's when you have the obstructive sleep apnea. That's when I have this obstructive sleep apnea. So yeah, so after I had the baby, and you know, having a newborn, it gets hectic. I'm waking up every hour and a half, 2 hours to feed her, to change her, all of that. So I was constantly removing the machine, constantly removing the mask, constantly, and it just got so overwhelming that I wasn't using it for months. And upon going to the pulmonary doctor, doing the test, they found out that I wasn't using it. But I wasn't gonna lie anyway. I told them that I wasn't using it. So now that I realized that I basically failed my breathing test because they could tell that I wasn't using the machine without me telling them. So I have to use it nightly now. So for the past 3 nights since I've gotten the machine, I've been using it, and it's been going really well. No issues. I'm using it at a minimum of maybe 4.5 hours. I think I had one of the nights, I think it was last night before, 2 nights ago, I used it for 6.5 hours. So I'm using it now, and trust me, I feel much better when I wake up in the morning. I don't feel as exhausted. I feel much lighter. I don't feel overwhelmed, like I'm struggling to breathe, like everything is going good. But on a serious note, obstructive sleep apnea is a medical condition, and it affects, based on my research and my knowledge and the doctor's expertise, it affects over 20 million US citizen residents, and it is very serious. For anyone out there that is struggling with sleep apnea and you have prescription to use your CPAP machine, please use it. Don't make excuses to not use it, and a lot of the time they make them small and compact so you could travel with it. So if you're a female and you have like a big purse, just make sure you remove the water from the water filter area and dry it out and put it in your purse. Travel with it. If you're going on a 2 days weekend vacation, bring it with you. If you're spending the night over at a friend's house, bring it with you, because once you start straying away from using it, it becomes easier not to use it, and you are endangering yourself, you're endangering your life, you're making your condition worse. And the thing about it is, for the persons who don't want to have surgery, please use your machine, because surgery is the next option, and not all of the surgery is going to be 100% successful. Now, I don't know the mortality rate. I'm not a doctor, not a medical professional. I'm just someone who has sleep apnea, who's using a CPAP machine. So I'm giving my personal experience and my take on the situation. So surgery is an option because that was presented to me at my last visit, and I tell myself that I don't want to go back under the knife unless it is absolutely necessary, unless I've exhausted all my options and there's nothing left but surgery. So I'll be using this machine and doing what I need to do, because I want to avoid surgery at every cost. So yeah, and every surgery have some of the symptoms include daytime sleepiness, fatigue, constant snoring throughout the night if there's someone else at home to actually monitor you, or you could just record yourself just to see if you're having these symptoms. But those are some of the symptoms I've had, and since I've been using the CPAP machine, it has definitely gotten better. With the snoring, the daytime sleepiness is not so much. In previous clip you will hear me talk about not feeling so tired and not feeling as exhausted when I get up in the morning, since I've been using it for the past 3 days. So it's definitely important to keep up with your treatment and do what you need to do based on the recommended stuff you need to do from your pulmonary doctor. Moral of this story is just sharing with you guys is, if there is a medical issue that you guys are going through and you're on prescription medication, or there's methods that you and your doctor have discussed for treatment, please do not discontinue your treatment without speaking to your medical provider, because a lot of the times you stop and discontinue your treatment and you cause more harm than good. And this is just my opinion, my experience. Once again, this is in no way giving medical advice. I'm only sharing my experience with dealing with my sleep apnea, and just the shock initially finding out that I have to use a machine. It wasn't comfortable. I wasn't happy. I had a few moments that I cried about it, but I've come to think that I would rather use the machine to give myself a better chance of not in my sleep, so I don't have to go under surgery possibly, because surgery is not fun and the recovery process is not always the easiest. And as I said, there's risk in every surgery. So again, I hope you guys like this information that I provided. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, turn the post notification bell on so you don't miss any of my videos, and leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in another one. Bye. My God, New York City. You hear the siren outside? Okay, bye guys.